Hey guys, welcome to the fourth episode of iCar Academy Live. It is so fast that we are already in the fourth day out of this 5-day series. It's kind of interesting that how time really flies. But to give you guys a quick recap about what we covered during the past couple of days, the first day itself, we covered about what are some of the things which car buyers are looking for when they're actually buying a car. The different levels of car buyers so that we understand about how do we tackle different car buyers at different stages. The second day on Tuesday, we spoke about pictures and videos and how do we create impactful pictures and videos which really attract car buyers' attention, right? On the third day, which was yesterday, we spoke about information and how do we really copyright information so that it's really tailor-made towards our car buyers so that we can follow them throughout the whole process of wanting to buy a car until the point of actually making that initiation to call you guys to buy that car. Now, today itself is going to be a rather tricky topic. It's going to be about pricing and how do you really price the car so that it really does attract the car buyer. We all know we're all typical Asians, and part of being typical Asians itself, we are kind of inclined to find the best bargain. Okay, give me a moment. Let me just check on the audio for a while. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear me better now? Yeah, probably you can hear me better now, right? Yeah. Okay, so in terms of pricing wise, it's going to be something which is really tricky. And part of it being so tricky is because there is also going to be a lot of other factors which involves into actually pricing that vehicle. But I'm not going to touch about the nitty-gritty stuff. I'm going to really talk about from the customer point of view, what do customers look at? So based on what customer look at itself, we can then base it back to the pricing which we initiate the purchase of the vehicle to begin with, right? So taking from a customer point of view, this is where this session is going to be all about. So let me just put up my slides once again. There we go. And just go to the next slide. So today we're going to talk about pricing vehicles. How do you attract your car buyers with pricing of the vehicles? We know today itself, we live in a generation where car buyers have that freedom of choice. And part of having that freedom of choice, it's so important to be able to allow them to have the right price to choose from. I'll go into more detail about getting the right price later on as well. So the second part is that how do you make it attractive? Because we all know, right, car prices can vary from really cheap to really pricey. But at the end of the day itself, different price appeals to different people. And how do we make it really appealing towards our car buyers? So once again, July 15, which is this month, just in a couple more weeks. I think it's like, what, 2 weeks now? Today's July 2nd. So July 15, you will be getting a brand new dealership. So stay tuned for that brand new dealership. It's coming to you guys really soon. Ask your account manager about this dealership if they have not shared with you just yet, because it's something really exciting and I believe it's going to change the way you manage your inventory and listings. So do check it out. Going back to some things which we covered. So this week itself, we've already covered the pictures, which is on Tuesday. Information was yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about the pricing. So the pricing of the vehicle. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about something which is going to have a lot of data. So for tomorrow itself, it's going to be very important for you to really write down notes and pay attention to what we're going to be sharing tomorrow when it comes to positioning. It's going to be really detailed tomorrow where we're going to share with you guys data trends from last month itself. So it's going to be really fresh data. So stay tuned for that. But for today itself, we're going to talk about pricing and how do you get the right price to attract the right car buyer. So we all know this truth over here. The longer you hold on to your car, the more it depreciates, the more things you need to pay for, the cost, the maintenance, and all that kind of thing. So the faster you can sell your car, the more money we will all make. So this is where we want to help you guys sell your car as soon as possible, because we do know that in terms of the longer you keep that car, valuation reduces, and as it reduces, you have to then reduce your selling price, and then your margin gets less and less and less and less. And we want to make sure that you guys can sell the car as fast as possible. So there are actually just 3 keys when it comes to vehicle pricing for car buyers. So just these 3 things. So if you have to just remember these 3 things whenever you're thinking about pricing a car, the these are the three things you need to remember. The first one is that you need to make sure that your pricing is reasonable. Now, when I talk about reasonable, is that it needs to be something which is something with within the range of the actual price car. So we've seen before some listings, sometimes it's extremely cheap or extremely expensive. If it's not reasonable for the car buyer, chances are that they could just put it off and ignore it. I'll go into more detail about this key in a bit as well, because it's really interesting as we go on. The next one is actually trustable, right? So the price you put out there needs to build trust. We've spoken about trust quite a number of times during Tuesday and Wednesday, and even today. Trust is so important, especially if you're buying something online. You need to build that trust. And I'm pretty sure you've heard of 1,001 cases of scam happening, even for cars as well, right? There are people who actually pretend to be car dealers and sell things online. So we want to be able to instill trust in our car buyers, and we can also do that with our pricing. So I'll talk to you guys more about this trustable as well. And the third one, we want that number to be something which people feel itchy about, and they feel as if they're going to take action on buying that vehicle. So there are these three things which we need to be able to get car buyers interested while looking at your vehicle price. So these three things: reasonable, it needs to be trustable, and it needs to be actionable. So these three things. Now, when we go to when we talk about reasonable pricing, the first thing to know is that car buyers today versus car buyers back then, very different story. So if you're selling cars for over 10 years, you might notice that car buyers, as the years go on, they seem to become more picky. They seem to be more meticulous in a way. They tend to ask a lot of questions. And this is where it's something which is true. It is something which is happening. So car buyers at the moment itself, first thing of all is that they have all the options available. Unlike last time, they don't have that much options of cars. They just look at a black and white classified listing. Today, they have a whole variety of listings available for them to choose from. So they have that capability of choosing. The next thing is that they're able to compare vehicles, and they're always going to do that research. So it's no longer where I go to one car dealership, I look at the cars available, and that's about it. Today itself, when somebody wants to buy a car, their decision is based on a wide variety of choices. So people already make that decision to buy that car online. Remember, 2 or 3 car buyers today make the decision to buy the car online. So that's really important to highlight it's very important for us to all understand. So how do you create a reasonable price? So once again, inside of this, I have 3 questions which I've created here as well. These 3 questions really says, 1, is your price updated? Because if you think about it, when you're putting up an ad for sale, a vehicle up for sale, you want to make sure that car buyers are seeing the latest price. We've noticed that a few times car buyers have actually came up there, and while looking at a car ad and contacting car dealers, sometimes the car ads are not updated and the price isn't the price which is advertised. This creates a little bit of an uncomfortable experience for a car buyer, because as a car buyer, I see that price there and that price is not up to date. It's going to feel kind of uncomfortable there. So the first question to ask is that, is your price up to date? If it's not up to date, or if you guys have already updated the price to something even better, fantastic. Update your vehicle pricing, because that helps you with your car buyers making that decision to purchase your vehicle. So first question to ask yourself when making sure the price is reasonable is your price updated? The second question to ask yourself is, what is the market price? So market price itself, it can be sometimes tricky, right? Because you think about it, most of the time people, what they do to determine what the market price is that they go to the search page for, let's say you're looking for a market price for Toyota Vios. You go to the search page, browse through all the Toyota Vios available there, like, agak lah, just an estimate about what the price is. And from that estimation, looking at all that listed from that one page, you come to a decision about what price that vehicle should be at. Now, this itself may not be that accurate, because what you're looking at is just one page. But what if there's a tool to allow you to be able to see all that pricing right away? I'm pretty sure some of you have already used that tool. It's an exclusive tool within carlist.my, and it is still coming to you guys in the dealership which will be coming up on July 15th. So stay tuned for that. But we have that price guide. I'll share more about that price guide in a little bit as well so that you guys know where to find it. The third thing is the price believable? Now, it's so important to make sure that the price is believable today. Because if you think about it, if today you want to buy something, you would already have done your research and you roughly know what the price is. If the price is extremely cheap, it creates that feeling as if, hey, betul ke tak ni? It feels as if it's not real. It feels as if it has some udang di sebalik batu, right? So the price needs to be believable. It needs to be something which is real. Now, what we have here is actually the price guide. So every time you're creating a listing, you would be able to select the price guide here within, if you want the data to be 30 days worth of data, so we collect the total amount of vehicles based on the make, model, variant, year, and we collect it and we compile it and we come up for you what is the minimum price, maximum price, as well as average price. All of this is calculated for you to be able to make an accurate decision. We even allow you guys to filter it between 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, because, well, some people would rather have it a tighter spread. So the tighter spread is 30 days, so the price is more accurate. But if you want to be more cautious and you want to have a wider spread, you can choose 90 days, where the price will be broader. Part of this, it gives you the opportunity to see what the market trend is also like. So if you see 90 days and 30 days and the prices has changed, be wary about it, because we all need to make sure that our prices are still kept up to date, especially in these times. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have already noticed the prices changing pretty quick since the MCO happened here in Malaysia. So it's so important to be able to stay up to date about what is the average market price of the vehicle. One is that you can see it every time you create an ad. Two is that every inventory you have in your dealership will have a price guide button there, which you can also use to check out the price of the vehicle. If your price of the vehicle is cheaper, fantastic. It does help with the car buyer experience as well. So the next thing we go to is it trustable, right? So part of this trustable itself is also to make sure that at the end of the whole lot itself, the price which you show up to your car buyer is a price which is something which they can believe. So like what I mentioned earlier, it needs to be something which is not a polar extreme. So car buyers, and even today itself, even as I'm interested to make a purchase, I would have already done my homework and done my research about what is the average price. And based on that average price, I'm able to determine what is the range of that vehicle supposed to be. So part of this, the first thing to then answer is the price on the road, right? If the price of the car is not on the road price, imagine the car buyer calling you about it. Or imagine if you yourself are a car buyer and you call in a car dealer and all of a sudden you're asking, hey boss, why is the car so cheap? And then the answer comes, oh, we haven't included a road tax and all those kind of things. It's going to feel rather disappointing. So this is where be open about it. If let's say you're posting up a listing online, please make sure that that price is an on-the-road price where the car buyer can be really readily to take that car out from the showroom and drive it once they've made the payment, right? So is the car an on-the-road price? Second is that, are there any hidden fees? Nothing is more disappointing than to find out that, hey, you've bought something and then you have to pay additional things on top of it, right? You already decided to go on this on a long-term basis, because buying a car is a very personal journey. Most of the time, people take loans, 5-year loan, 3-year loans, 7-year loan, or 9-year loans. It's a long commitment. And to be able to convince the individual himself to be able to commit during that whole long period of time, it really takes a lot of effort. And all of a sudden, there are additional fees which we need to include into it. And it really creates a very disappointing experience for a car buyer. So please avoid having hidden fees. Be upfront and honest and transparent about it, because at the end of the day itself, when we are transparent and honest with our car buyers, it helps us build this thing called trust again. So build trust with your car buyer. We're not looking at a short-term decision for a car buyer to buy a car. It's a long-term journey, because as we spoke on the very first day, an average car buyer in Malaysia takes on average 3 months to decide to buy a car. 3 months. So you do not want to leave the car buyer with a bitter taste in their mouth immediately. You want to build that trust throughout the whole journey, and then they will convert with you. So you need to make sure that you are transparent and honest with the car buyer. Third thing is that, can the car buyer bargain? The interesting thing about being Asian is that a lot of times we buy things with bargains, right? We go to the supermarket, we go bargain for things. And this is where it's so important for you guys. When you guys are putting up a post online, you can also look into having a bargain there. So let's just do a short exercise here. So this is just a handphone, for example, right? We've not even gone deep inside a car. This is just handphones. So this is an iPhone 11 Pro. And right now, the iPhone 11 Pro on the Apple website sells for $5,999. And what you're looking to buy is you've decided that, hey, you know what? Apple is selling it so expensive. I think I shall go out and buy used Apple instead. Hopefully it's cheaper. So you go online and you start browsing around to see where you can find the best iPhone out there in the market. And you stumble upon a couple of ads. And you see the 3 ads on the right there. So there is one over there which is 4199, another one 5200, and another one 5699, right? And you're like, okay. So there's a price difference between all these 3 different phones. The third one is the most expensive at 5699. Why is it so expensive? Is it because it still comes with the box and everything is still new? Is that why? So car buyers are actually rationalizing the same thing inside their head as well. They're trying to justify why the price of that specific thing is more expensive. And it's all right that sometimes your vehicles are more expensive than what's the average market price, because if the condition, and you need to justify that for a car buyer as well. So part of justifying the condition of your car is same thing with this 5699, a premium price. How does anybody justify that this phone is more expensive than the rest of the phones out there? So it needs to be justified. So that's the most expensive one. The second one is 5,200. All right. 5,200 is a price which is kind of in the middle. It's all right. It's kind of like those Goldilocks, the bowls of porridge. It's too hot, too cold, and just right. So 5200 is kind of just right. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap. It's kind of all right. Then it goes to the another one, which is 4199, which also like, hey, this is so much more cheaper. I should just get this super cheap one, right? But then again, inside your head will automatically start thinking as well, hey, why is this phone so cheap? 4199, sontak komo. Boleh percaya tak? Ni nanti tipu duit ke? So something, you feel as if there's something fishy about it. Like, you don't mind checking it out, but you feel also that it doesn't feel like something which is right. So this is where immediately trust is lost there. And you don't want to lose that trust, because even from a price point of view, you can immediately just lose trust because something like this 4199, which is extremely cheap. So as a car buyer itself, same thing. I would know what is the baseline of somebody wanting to, somebody selling that car. So I know what is the average price range. And if I see something which is extremely cheap or extremely expensive, first thing of all, I'll start justifying it inside my head. Just like how the expensive iPhone itself, I justified that inside my head to justify, hey, maybe because condition is better, that's why I may consider buying a more expensive phone. But when it comes to the extremely cheap one, immediately inside my head justifies that, hey, something's not right with this. Can I really trust this? So part of building that trust, the interesting thing which we found out was that it is not the cheapest car advertised which gets the most calls. I repeat, it is not the cheapest car which is advertised that gets the most calls. It is the car which is slightly below the average market price which gets the most calls. Now that's very interesting, because if you think about it, a lot of times people think about when you're selling cars online, it's all about getting the cheapest car available out there. But that's far from the truth. The truth is that you got to find the car which is just slightly below the average market price, and that's where the sweet spot is for car buyers. They already do know what's the market price. what they want is just a good bargain, which is just slightly below the average market price. So yes, next is that after you've come up with a trust building activity with a car buyer, we've come up with a price which car buyers can trust. Next thing is you want to be able to create that action for a car buyer. You want to help them be excited about the car and jump to contact you. So in this section itself, we do know that car buyers today do not like to be pushed to the corner. Now, you might notice that today itself, a lot of car buyers are moving towards WhatsApping to inquire about a car. One of the main reasons is that, well, Car Is Not Mine, now we allow you guys to be able to receive WhatsApp directly from the car buyer. But another reason behind it is because consumers today feel more comfortable texting rather than picking up the call, because they also do feel that if I were to call a salesperson, the salesperson is going to try to convince me to buy a car. And car buyers today do not like to be felt that their choice is taken away from them. They want to be able to have the liberty of freedom of choosing what car they want and then making that decision. So a line which I'd like to share you guys, people today love to buy, but they hate to be sold to, because people want to have that decision to buy. And this is where our job is to really entice the car buyer to buy our car. So the first thing of all is that in your pricing itself, in your ad, is there a call for action? So once again, when you're doing your call for action in your information section, remind them about what are they getting. So create them a summary about what price they're getting, what free gift, what value is the free gift they're getting. People love dollar and cents. So keep that inside your description as well, and create an action there so that people can call you. Some people have done some things which are pretty interesting, like send WhatsApp message with hashtag dapat sekarang or hashtag drive home today and get a special limited offer price. Now that is something which also entices action for the car buyer. Second one is that we can also use the price as a limited offer price. Part of this limited offer price, you can tell them that, hey, the price available is only available for until 5th of June. So create a limited offer price, something which we also spoke about yesterday. So if you want to find out more information about what we spoke about yesterday, do check out the video we have yesterday. The next one is 99 instead of 0 and 0. Now, this is something which is pretty interesting. You know how people tend to sell things online and they have like 1 ringgit 99 cents versus 2 ringgit. I mean, it's 1 cent different, but all of a sudden that 1 cent plays such an important role that it captures your attention that, okay lah, I buy lah, because I don't know, something's just magical about the 99. But this is actually a research which was actually conducted in MIT and Kellogg Schools of Management. So the research conducted was very, very interesting. They actually went out and researched this with a bunch of people in a shop. And they have this one shirt available for sale. And that shirt was actually $34 for sale in the market. So $34, right? It's one of those numbers which is in between and like, it's like meh, right? But what they did was that they tried jacking up the price and to see if people would actually buy the shirt as well. So when they jacked up the price by $10, so they jacked it up to $44, so from 33 to 44. They noticed that in terms of the number of t-shirts sold was still exactly the same. It didn't change. The number of buyers for the t-shirt was still the same, even though the price went up by $10. Now that's actually quite a huge sum if you think about percentage-wise. But if you think about t-shirts, well, there's that flexibility there as well. But the interesting part is actually the $39, because 39 has the magic number 9 behind it. Having that number 9 itself, jumping the number from 34 to 39, which is $5 more expensive compared to the original price. Sales actually went up by a third. So people actually bought the shirt more when the price was actually placed at $39. How insane is that? So the original price was actually $5 cheaper. Now that it is more expensive, people bought it more. But the caveat is that there's that secret number 9 behind it. So this is the thing. For Malaysians, we are quite interesting beings, right? Because we do have a blend of cultures, and we have that pass apart number, the 88 number behind that, which is kind of another fancy and attractive number for Malaysians as well. So this is where 99, 88, try it out, experiment it for yourself and see if it makes a difference for you. Because at the end of the day itself, all these goes back to your actions and trial and error. What works for some dealers might not work for you. What works for you might not work for other dealers. So try out and see what works for your dealers. But this is a research which was done in the States, and they found that there are things like magic numbers which help people actually take action to buy. The same thing when you go online as well, when you do your online shopping. There are reasons why suddenly you see a product where it feels like $199. Whereas if all the while seen it $2, you've never bothered about it, but all of a sudden $199, you decide to take action on it and make that purchase. So same thing here for this pricing as well. It's so important to look into techniques like this. Another way we can actually highlight all these promotions to your car buyers, because, well, Asians love discounts and we all enjoy all these discounts. So as typical humans and wanting our discounts, in Carlin.my, you can also highlight your discount using the hot deal. If you notice this listing here, it says that it's a 6% below the average market price. So the discount for Carlin.my is that you need to make sure that that vehicle is actually below the average market price. So remember, just now we spoke about the average market price, and you can find it when you've already created a listing. You can find it when you're creating a listing. So you can also check out the average market price and determine what it is when you're buying that hot deal. And make sure that the price is below the average market price, and then it will show this promotional discount out here. So once again, it's all about creating the experience for a car buyer. It's a whole journey. When you talk about giving price and promotions to your car buyer, it's really to help them make that decision to buy that car and build that trust environment to jump on board to contact you guys to buy that car. So if you're able to give that value to your car buyer, this is where car buyers can build that trust with you and take action. So once again, to wrap things up, PIP, we've already covered these three things over the past couple of days. First thing was the pictures itself. We covered all the pictures and videos on how do you take great pictures and videos so that car buyers are interested in buying your car. Second one is the information about how do you write something which is captivating for car buyers and get them to take action to buy your car. Today itself, it's about pricing, but how do you decide on what pricing car buyers are actually looking at and what they actually want? From a car buyer perspective, these are some things which car buyers really need to help build trust in actually contacting you as car dealers. But once again, a quick shout out for dealership. Dealership is coming to you guys on July 15. That is really soon. So contact your account managers to find out more information about the dealership. But part of the sneak peek of dealerships again today, in terms of that, in dealerships today, this is what you'll see when you're actually having a listing on the new dealership on the 15th. You will be able to see two buttons over there. One is bump, which you guys are very familiar with. And then we're going to have another button there for upgrade ads. So upgrade ads will have all the features like feature, ads, highlight, showcase, hot deals, bump, schedule bumps, combo, and ad video. So all those things are tucked in neatly over there so that you can get more advantage for your ad. So just now we spoke briefly about that hot deal. The hot deal is available there. So do check out that hot deal button. So make sure you try out the hot deal, get your car buyers. And this is going to be how you're going to get your car buyers and attention for car buyers inside the next dealership. So do check it out. That's all for today's session. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.